Your family is driving you crazy right now. I can almost guarantee it. And here's the thing nobody tells you. It's not going to magically get better on its own. But what if I told you Therese a specific method that professional therapists use to diffuse family conflicts? A method that actually works. Not the usual advice about communication and boundaries. Something deeper. Something that addresses the real root of family drama. Stick with me for the next 10 minutes. Because by the end of this video, you're going to understand why your family fights the way they do. And more importantly, you'll know exactly what to do about it. Let's start with a hard truth. Most family drama isn't really about what people think it's about. Your mom isn't actually mad about you missing dinner. Your sibling isn't really upset about that comment you made. These are surface issues. The real conflict runs much deeper. It's about unmet needs. Unspoken expectations. Old wounds that never healed. Every family has them. And they show up disguised as arguments about holidays, money, parenting choices, or whose turn it is to host Thanksgiving. Here's what happens in most families. Someone feels hurt or neglected. But instead of addressing that core feeling, they pick a fight about something else. Something safer. Something more concrete. This is called displacement, and it's one of the main reasons family conflicts feel so confusing and exhausting. Think about your last family argument. Was it really about what was being discussed? Or was there something else underneath? Maybe your dad criticized your career choice. But was he actually worried about your financial security? Maybe your sister snapped at you for being late. But was she really feeling unappreciated for all the family organizing she does? When you understand this pattern, everything changes. You stop taking things personally. You start seeing the real issue. And that's when you can actually solve problems instead of just fighting about symptoms. Now let's talk about the biggest mistake people make when dealing with family drama. They try to win the argument. They gather evidence. They build their case. They prove they're right. And you know what happens? The conflict gets worse. Why? Because family relationships aren't courtrooms. There's no judge who's going to declare you the winner. When you focus on being right, you make the other person wrong. And nobody changes their behavior or opens their heart when they feel attacked and defensive. Professional mediators know this. That's why they use a completely different approach. Instead of focusing on who's right, they focus on what each person needs. Instead of rehashing the past, they build solutions for the future. Instead of assigning blame, they create understanding. Here's the method that actually works. It has 5 specific steps. Each one is crucial. Skip any of them and you'll end up right back in the same drama cycle. Step 1 is creating emotional safety. This might sound soft or unnecessary, but it's actually the foundation of everything else. When people feel attacked or judged, their brains literally shut down the reasoning centers and activate fight or flight responses. You cannot have a productive conversation with someone in that state. How do you create safety? You start by acknowledging the other person's feelings without agreeing or disagreeing with them. You use phrases like "I can see this really matters to you" or "I understand you're feeling frustrated." You temporarily set aside your own need to be heard. Just for a few minutes. This doesn't mean you're giving in. It means you're smart enough to know that defensive people don't listen. Step 2 is identifying the real issue underneath the surface conflict. This requires asking questions instead of making statements. What's really bothering you about this? What do you need that you're not getting? What would make this situation better for you? These questions help people move past their defensive positions and access their actual needs. Most people never get to this step. They stay stuck arguing about surface issues. Who said what? Who did what? Who's right? But surface arguments never resolve anything because they're not addressing the real problem. It's like putting a band-aid on a broken bone. It might cover the wound, but it doesn't fix what's actually broken. Step 3 is taking responsibility for your part. Notice I said your part, not the whole thing. Every conflict involves at least 2 people. Even if you think you're only 10% responsible, own that 10%. This is incredibly powerful because it breaks the blame cycle. When you stop defending yourself and start acknowledging your role, it gives the other person permission to do the same. What does this look like in practice? You might say, I realize I've been dismissive when you try to talk to me about this, or I can see how my actions came across as not caring even though that wasn't my intention. You're not admitting you're wrong about everything. You're just acknowledging the impact of your behavior, regardless of your intent. Step 4 is setting clear boundaries without being aggressive. This is where most people either become doormats or bulldozers. They either avoid setting any boundaries to keep the peace, or they set boundaries in such a harsh way that it creates more conflict. There's a middle path. Effective boundaries sound like this. I want to have a good relationship with you, and I also need to protect my own well-being. I'm willing to discuss this when we're both calm, but I'm not willing to be yelled at. I love spending time with the family, and I also need to maintain my own schedule and commitments. Notice the structure? It acknowledges the relationship while also stating the limit. Boundaries aren't punishments. They're not about controlling other people. They're about defining what you will and won't accept in your own life. When you set them clearly and kindly, most people will respect them. And if they don't? That tells you something important about whether this relationship is healthy for you. Step 5 is creating a specific action plan. This is the step everyone skips. They have a good conversation, everyone feels better, and then nothing actually changes. 6 months later, the same drama erupts again. Why? Because feelings and understanding aren't enough. You need concrete agreements about what will happen differently. What does an action plan look like? It's specific. It's measurable. It has clear expectations. For example, instead of "well, communicate better," you might agree to have a monthly phone call on the first Sunday of each month. Instead of "I'll try to be more supportive," you might agree to ask, "How can I help?" before offering advice. The more specific you are, the more likely real change will happen. Now let's address something crucial. What if the other person won't cooperate? What if they refuse to have a calm conversation? What if they keep blaming you for everything? This happens. And it's important to know that you can't force someone to work on a relationship. It takes 2 willing people. But here's what you can control. Your own reactions. Your own boundaries. Your own peace of mind. Even if the other person never changes, you can change how you respond to them. You can stop taking their bait. You can refuse to engage in circular arguments. You can love them from a distance if necessary. Sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is accept that a relationship has limits. Not every family relationship can or should be close. Some people are only capable of surface-level connection. Some people aren't willing to do the work of resolving conflicts. And that's okay. You can still be kind. You can still be civil. But you don't have to keep beating your head against a wall trying to fix something the other person isn't interested in fixing. Let's talk about timing. When should you try to resolve family drama? Not in the middle of a holiday dinner. Not when emotions are running high. Not when you're exhausted or stressed. The best time is when both people are calm, rested, and have enough time to talk without rushing. This might mean scheduling a specific conversation. That might feel formal or awkward, but it's much better than ambushing someone or trying to have a serious talk when the conditions aren't right. Here's another critical point. Sometimes you need outside help. A family therapist or mediator can provide structure and neutrality that's impossible to achieve on your own. There's no shame in this. In fact, it's often the smartest and fastest path to resolution. A skilled professional can spot patterns you are too close to see. They can call out unfair tactics. They can keep the conversation productive when it starts to spiral. Many people resist therapy because they think it means something is seriously wrong. But that's like saying you should only see a doctor if you're dying. Therapy is preventive care for relationships. It's a tool. It's not a sign of failure. It's a sign that you care enough about the relationship to get help making it better. Let's address some common objections. You might be thinking, but my family is different. We're too set in our ways. We've been fighting like this for decades. Nothing will change. I hear you. Change is hard, especially in long-established patterns. But here's the truth. Every pattern started at some point. And every pattern can end. It just takes one person willing to do something different. You might also be thinking, why should I be the one to change? They're the problem. And maybe you're right. Maybe they are more at fault. But being right doesn't make you happy. Being right doesn't give you peace. Being right doesn't repair the relationship. Sometimes you have to choose between being right and being at peace. Both are valid choices. But know what you're choosing. Here's what I want you to remember. Family drama doesn't have to be your normal. It doesn't have to steal your joy and drain your energy. You have more power than you think. Not power over other people, but power over your own responses, your own boundaries, your own well-being. The method I've shared with you today works. But it requires patience. It requires practice. It requires you to stay calm when everything in you wants to react. It requires you to be the bigger person even when it doesn't feel fair. And it requires you to accept that some relationships might not be fixable, at least not right now. Start small. Pick one relationship. One conflict. Try these steps. See what happens. You might be surprised. Even small changes can create ripple effects. When you stop participating in drama, the drama often fizzles out. When you set clear boundaries, people often rise to meet them. When you focus on understanding instead of winning, real connection becomes possible. Your family doesn't have to be perfect. No family is. But your family relationships can be healthier. They can be more peaceful. They can bring you joy instead of stress. It starts with you. Not because it's your fault, but because you're the one watching this video. You're the one seeking solutions. You're the one willing to try something different. And that makes all the difference.